Hey, what's up, Blazer fans? Welcome to We Have a Take the What podcast. I am Tara Bowen Biggs, joined as always by Rose Harding. Hello, Rose.
Hi, Tara. How are you doing today?
I am doing good. Sun's shining. Got to go back to work tomorrow, which I'm not super excited about, but it is what it is, right? How about you?
It, uh, Same. Honestly, I took the whole week off this week because, that Portland Public doesn't have school during the week of Thanksgiving for parent-teacher conferences. And so I've been off for this is my ninth day off in a row. And I'm like not looking forward to turning my alarm back on tonight.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not looking forward to a whole 5 day work week next week. Because when you're in school, it's no school November, but also you have lots of at least I tend to have lots of days off in November for various different things. And then going into a 5 day week is like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. But we'll survive. We'll survive because we have Blazer games going on. And sometimes I wonder, how do I make it through the rest of the year when I don't have Blazer games to look forward to?
I don't know. I think that that's the whole reason why I'm super excited about the potential of the WNBA starting on time. Probably not, but I'm still putting that out there into the universe that maybe the WNBA and the Players Union will work something out. But, year-round basketball really is a salve for a lot of ailments.
Yeah, and I'm so selfish about it that I'm mad when the Blazers have 2 nights off in a row. And I'm like, how come they have 2 nights off in a row?
Honestly, it messes up my workout schedule because I have like a routine and I like to um ride my stationary bike during Blazer games. And if they have 2 days off in a row, it messes it up my routine because it's like I do it every other day, and then I like to lift weights on the other days. I can't lift weights and watch the Blazers. Are you kidding me? That's not what I can do. That's not the thing. I need to do it while I watch the game while I ride the bike because I ride harder when it's stressful.
I know, and I know that, it's better for the players when they have rest and recovery time. And there's a lot of talk this season about like the extraordinary number of injuries. But what am I going to do with myself if they shorten the season?
Yeah, but what about us? What about the fans?
Well, yeah, the injury bug continues to maintain its presence with the Blazers, so nothing has changed on that front. And I mean, I guess we had some people who had illnesses who came back. That was exciting. And then Shaden came back after resting his calf, but we're still pretty much out the entire point guard rotation for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and it sounds like maybe they're not that close. Like they're not doing full contact and I don't know. But
Okay. So imagine my surprise when I was at I think it was the Spurs game. I was sitting next to the people, the seats next to mine are pretty much in rotation. There's always somebody new. And so this guy was there and he was talking to the person that he brought. And he was like, oh, yeah, so the Blazers aren't playing a bunch of guys tonight because they're sitting a bunch of guys because they're about ready to make a trade. And I was like, what? And then all of a sudden I came up, I took my head out of the sand and started to look around and like people are talking about trades right now. Like what are we doing? What why would okay, before I give my opinion on this, was that a thought that crossed your mind that boy, I wonder if the Blazers are getting ready to make a trade?
no.
Okay.
I'll just say no. That didn't cross my mind, and partly because most of the people that are out right now are people we need.
Right, and they are truly injured. And also there's also a lot of the players can't be traded until December 15th. I think it's just that like I've removed myself a lot from that stream of conversation about trades and trades and trades. And especially this year, I kind of think that the Blazers must like they can't not pick up the phone if people call
Sure,
with ideas.
sure.
They can't not pick up the phone. But like what's going on right now is so positive in my opinion, where we're getting like all-star level Denny. We're watching Tumani to see if he can work out and become a good enough shooter. We've got a healthy Rob Williams coming in. We've got Donovan taking a leap. And none of this right now screams to me the Blazers need to change anything. We know they need shooters. We've known needed shooters forever, right? Like we
Yes.
know that there's gaps on the team, but right now there's so much going on that I would not think that they would be ready to necessarily like disrupt anything, but that's just me.
In that way, I think everybody is always a little bit ready to make a trade, right? Because you, like you said, if somebody calls, you pick up the phone and, see what's going on. But I can't imagine us shopping anybody.
Any healthy, all of their healthy players.
No, the only person that I would have said that about 6 months ago is Jeremy.
Uh-huh.
And the way Jeremy is playing, I'm like, I don't know if you trade him. Um, Especially right now when he's one of the only shooters that we seem to have.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I think also it's such a pleasure to see this Jeremy. I don't know where he was the last couple of the seasons, but this is like the Jeremy that I was expecting to play. And I get that when you have somebody who makes a lot of money, then when they are playing well, that's a more likely time that other teams will be wanting to match the salaries for them. But I don't know. It shocked me that, and then I just looked around and like Mike Richmond just had a thing about like, do the Blazers need to make a trade? And he didn't he was not advocating the Blazers need to be out there calling and making trades or whatever. He was kind of thinking like, you know, they probably might want to have a point guard, but like the what I took away with it is like, um, the Blazers are yeah using two-way players and just like a collection of everybody else to play point guard right now. If they really wanted to find somebody who was more of a point guard than a shooter, they could look around the G League and swap some of the two-way players. But I just like we're finally getting data. We're finally seeing the vision. We finally have players who have a lot of similarities in their attitude and the way they play. It seems to me a little early to disrupt that.
Yeah, I mean, and also if I was like gonna look around the league and be like, who needs to make a trade? Like the Blazers aren't in my top five or maybe even my top 10, Like the big thing is like when I look around, I'm like, okay, we need shooters. That's the need. So unless you're trading somebody for a shooter who also fits the vibe of this team, I don't know why you would be like shopping, really.
Right.
But like looking around like the Kings look desperate to trade. Like there's a lot of teams out there way more desperate to trade than the Blazers. And I just can't imagine them. I don't know, like who was it? Someone in our group chat dropped in like that rumor about the Blazers wanting DeMar DeRozan. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that
for
was
what
me.
purpose?
That
Oh, was
was
you?
me. Because I was looking around going, what are they why would they be all in on I didn't even read up DeMar DeRozan's contract situation, how much money he has left, what kind of a contract he's on, or whatever. Like, are we just gonna collect 35-year-old guards? He's a guard, right?
Yes. Well, technically, I think he plays some small forward, but he's a small forward.
Yeah. Yeah, so
He's
I don't know. It was just very and I was just shocked when he was like, "Yeah, they're sitting out everybody because they're getting ready to make a trade." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
he's
And I was like, "Tara, do
36.
not engage. Do not engage. Do not have an opinion about somebody else's conversation. Look away. Don't." And eventually I had to be like, "Actually, they're all injured." And I was like, "Okay, now I'm going to stop talking." Because I was like, "You can't just let that just be out there." And I don't know. So I apologize if that person is listening and I busted into your conversation that you were trying to have. I'm sorry. But it was just shocking and I didn't know what to do.
DeMar DeRozan is 36 years old.
Hmm. Yep, yep. We're
I
all
know that
about youth.
yes, he's 36 years old and he's making 25 million a year
For how many
for
more
the
years?
for this year and next year. So he's
Okay.
signed through 37.
That just
I
doesn't
that doesn't
seem
scream win now.
no. Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what we're supposed to expect. To me, the team is still 2 years away from me thinking they really should be contending. Or not contending, but at least having like high playoff seed aspirations, at least 2 years away from that. We've got a lot of things that need to get settled first, including getting a shooter or
Yeah.
shooters.
And DeMar DeRozan is like, if I remember correctly, like he's not a great career 3-point shooter. He's like a 2-point guy.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
like,
add some
does he spread
mid-range.
the floor really?
Yeah. Well, so to catch up where we were last, the Blazers have played 3 games since we last spoke. They lost to the Thunder. No big surprise there. And I think they're playing this at Thunder this afternoon, and I'm kind of scared for them this afternoon as well. Because I don't think the
I
Thunder's like
know.
that one loss on their record right now.
It's true. And also like, I don't know, like
They're so
they're
good.
they're so good, and they're one of those teams where I think I was thinking about this one, they're kind of boring. They're
Mm,
good, but they're like kind of boring. Like the way that they play is, I mean, it's good, but it's kind of boring. But it's like boring also because it's just solid.
hmm
You know, they have really good guys that suit the style that they play, and I don't know, like they feel really like whistle proof,
hmm
I guess.
Yeah.
Which is very funny to say because I know everybody like talks about how like Shea is the absolute foul grifter, which, you know,
I
good for him.
mean, yeah. It's everybody always looks at somebody else's team and says that. Nobody looks inward and says they
Yeah,
just
we
they
got
just
one of
pick
those
on whoever's
ourselves.
doing really well.
He's just better at it than everyone,
Yeah,
a better foul grifter. Um, so yeah, I mean, also like we just have to play the Thunder so much.
I know. I know. Four
It's
times every year. It's like not
really
even like one of
unfair.
the yeah, it's just not. And then well, but they stole a win in Milwaukee. Milwaukee was I say stole because I don't know. I mean, I know that they didn't have Giannis, but the Blazers also don't have many players.
They have almost an identical record to ours.
Hmm.
But I do think that the construction of our roster is a little bit more resilient than the construction of the Bucks roster. And that's, you know, like we beat them without a point guard.
Hmm.
Um, but the Bucks have like, I don't know, who's the second best player on the Bucks right now? Kuzma, Miles Turner,
Yeah. Yeah, Miles Turner maybe.
Miles Turner, but he's not like a creator.
Mm-mm. I don't know. That
So
AJ Green kid seems to be tossing the ball around a lot.
I don't know what it is about him, but he looks so naked to me. Because I think he's really like he has no tattoos and he's really pale. And I was just like, I just I just want him to cover up a little.
Yeah, like half the Blazers rosters doesn't have tattoos, and it's weird.
Yeah,
I find it odd.
well, because we're younger. And I
Hmm.
will say this, if I were a basketball player, like I understand why guys want to have tattoos as a basketball player, because you know you're wearing tank tops a lot. But like I would probably wait till I had NBA money to
Hmm.
get good tattoos
Hmm.
if I wanted to like but I'm like, guys, TikTok, you know, you've been on in the league a couple of years now. You can afford some nice tattoos.
Yeah. Donovan has a lot of real estate, so he could put some little ones in there just to get things started. Maybe he's got little ones that I haven't seen yet, but like he could get started. Like he's got a lot of acres to cover. So he better get started if he's gonna get tattoos.
I'm actually against like the one tiny tattoo, and here's why. There's a guy on what's his name? One of the big white guys in Utah has a tiny tattoo that kind of looks like a cupping mark.
Yeah. Oh.
And
Huh.
I'm like, the one tattoo is so lonely out there. Give it a friend, make it bigger, attach it to something. Otherwise, it just looks like a little weird dot.
It would probably be large if it was on us.
Yes, yes,
In fairness.
yes. It's like the size of my whole face, probably. But on him, it looks tiny.
Well, anyway, I thought it was nice that Milwaukee did a tribute to Dame, because he was only there 2 years, so I was kind of surprised, but not surprised as well. And it's always
Yeah.
nice to see the Gary that this podcast recognizes.
Yes, that's right. G Gary Trent, who's also was playing like he played big minutes in that game. I don't know. I don't think he like played particularly well, but he did play big minutes that game. Their their roster changed a lot over the last like since Dame was there. I was like, who did you even play with on this team, Dame? Um, but like, like Bobby Portis is still there, and then there's a
Hmm.
bunch of guys whose names I don't know, if I'm being
Yeah.
totally honest. Also, I think Gary Harris was on that team. I think that's when I found out Gary Harris was still in the
Was
NBA.
still in the league.
Yeah. I kind of love those times where you're like, is that no, it can't be. Yes, it is. That's that Gary Harris.
Right. And like when did he become like an elder statesman
I don't
in the
know.
league? Maybe he's not an elder statesman. That might have been a little bit of a reach, but maybe he is. I don't know. And then there was the cup loss, unfortunately. The Blazers, I was at that game. They lost to the Spurs, which had they won it straight out, they would have advanced to the cup quarterfinals. They did not. The Spurs team, even without Wemby, definitely outplayed the Blazers, and it was unfortunate. But I am just so thankful that they had something to play for, that there was a chance. This is a
Yeah,
team that hasn't even had a chance in so long that they
it's
had a
true.
chance.
And like a chance at something that's not like, I don't know, like and not to poo-poo on this at all, but like, Tumani winning Defensive Player of the Year, being on the all defense team is definitely something that was cool last year, but it was something to play for that was team oriented, right? Like
Hmm.
this is like a win and in thing. And then also, God, it was so I realized though that while I was watching that game at home, I was like, I'm not cut out for this. I think this is too stressful. And I could see like people on Blue Sky melting down, and I was like, ooh, this is striking a nerve, and I wonder if like this is what they mean in Ted Lasso when they say it's the hope that kills you.
Yeah, could be. We got to adjust to it. That's for sure. If we didn't have it before, it's definitely the team has to grow, and we as fans are also still growing into expectations. Yeah, it's weird to have. It's weird and exciting. I'm just focusing on the fact that it's exciting to have any expectations at all because we weren't supposed to have them uh
Yeah.
for a good while. My biggest takeaway for those three games was especially like after like Donovan has made so much great progress, but for two of those three games he only had one foul. And I'm like, buddy, you got six. You're you're seven. They announce him as 7-3 now. Like you're a big dude. People should feel playing against you. Why are you finishing the game with one foul? I was surprised at that, and I would really like to see him use more of those fouls because they don't roll over like minutes in your phone plan.
Did that still happen?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Oh. I was like, or is that something of our youth that I don't that I
Yeah,
that we
I
no
don't think
longer
they.
do
That's
anymore?
because they're all unlimited anymore.
Right.
Fouls are not unlimited, but you get six of them.
Yeah. So for youngins who don't know, in the past we used to pay for a certain number of minutes every month, like 200. That was a real number of minutes people used to pay for on their cell phone. And then after that, they charge you a crazy amount of money for every additional minute. And now your plan, I'm pretty sure, just is like unlimited minutes, talk and text.
Yeah, and sometimes you got roll. Sometimes if you could get a rollover minute, that was like a good deal because you could roll over your minutes if you didn't use them. You could roll them over.
Yeah. But it
Um,
was only month to month.
right.
It
Yeah.
wasn't like you could like hoard them forever. So even in the rollover scenario, Donovan can't be doing anything with those extra fouls.
Right. Donovan needs to. What do you think's going on?
I don't know, honestly. It's so funny because last year it was like he was in a lot of foul trouble, and I saw him work really hard to like make adjustments so that he wasn't being called for as many fouls. And I wonder, I'm like, are you playing too safe now? Because I know that he probably feels like me being able to be in the game as much as possible is good for my team. And that contributes to winning. But I also think that there's not a difference of being in the game with one foul or five fouls. And so if you're only getting one, there's four good fouls that you are maybe not using that could maximize your contribution on the floor.
Yeah, I'm gonna be watching that, and I would like to see him do more fouls. And I didn't even look to maybe Robert Williams only had one foul. Maybe Blazers just got a really favorable with maybe Blazers centers just got really favorable whistles this week. I don't know. So I have not dived into it that much that close. So if it continues, I'm definitely going to be looking into it.
You know who has been using his fouls is Jeremy Grant's been using his fouls. And I remember he fouled out like a
Hmm.
couple games. Well, I think it was last week. It wasn't this week, but like, they're in that Spurs game, he had 5 fouls.
Yeah,
Like,
use them
use
all.
yeah, use them. You're not gonna take them with you to on to the next game, so use them up. And Donovan is a big scary dude, and I love seeing dudes like try to drive into the paint on him, and then they see him and they're like, no, 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 and they turn around, go
Yeah,
back to the perimeter somewhere. Like he's scary.
yeah,
Guys don't want to shoot over him.
yeah. So that was my biggest takeaway from this week. That and having somebody say that the Blazers were sitting their players because they were going to be making a trade. I was like, what?
One of the things I want to say about Donovan is like in that Spurs game, he was pissed. You could see how upset he was, like at the referees, because he thought he was getting fouled and they weren't calling anything. And it made me wonder if like he maybe could have practiced some flexibility there, whereas instead of getting so mad at those referees for not calling contact that he believed was a foul, was to like actually create more contact himself to see what he could be getting away with. Because maybe that whistle was really light in that game, and he could have been playing far more physical with that particular crew and not been called for fouls, but also been far more obnoxious and in people's faces. So
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, he could have if he was complaining about not getting the calls on himself, why not take it to the other end and see if the other team was going to get those calls.
yeah, because then you have the argument for like asymmetric like officiating, and maybe you can challenge stuff or whatever, or like you can have talks with, I know that the guys like pull like refs aside mid game sometimes and
Hmm.
talk about like a foul that they see happening or is not being called equitably. So just a potential option out there for Donovan if he's got some extra fouls to give, and you know sometimes we need them.
Yeah, let's see
Uh,
him.
the one of the things that I noticed that I don't know if you noticed this, but I thought Shaden looked nice in his little return. I wondered what his minute restriction was. They didn't say, I don't think. But he only played like 22 minutes, it looks like, in that game. But he was like 4 of 8, 11 points.
Hmm.
That Spurs loss. So, I'm not that mad about it.
Especially
Over,
because he can shoot, and we know the Blazers need somebody who can shoot.
yeah, he was over 3 from 3-point land, but that's not really his shot. And I think that they're maybe hoping that that becomes more of his shot. But, you know, coming back from injury, take it easy. Don't
Hmm.
risk a larger injury, that's for sure.
Yeah, especially early when half your team's out already.
We it looks like in that Spurs game, one of the other things I noticed, which I don't know if you noticed because this person didn't make it into the game, but I'm pretty sure Bismack Biyombo's on that team.
Oh, I did not notice him.
I just wanted to say that out loud so that those of you who are wondering what happened to Bismack Biyombo, he's still out there on the end of somebody's bench.
Wow. Sure he's not there as a coach?
It says in the box score DNP coach's decision.
Okay. Okay. Well, very well could be.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I honestly like so we that because that was a cup game and we lost and now we're out, they added 2 more games to our schedule. And it looks like we're going to be playing the Pelicans on the road and the team from the Bay at
Ugh.
home.
Why? I just they did this to themselves.
Yeah.
they if they had won that game, maybe they wouldn't have had to play. I don't know who they would have had to play, but maybe they wouldn't have had to play the Golden Warriors, which would have been a lot better. Maybe the NBA is now listening to this podcast and they're like, you know what we're gonna do? We're really gonna torture those ladies and we're gonna make the Blazers play that team one more time because they're our golden boys and we don't like anybody saying anything bad about our golden boys. So here you go, Blazers. Enjoy. Ugh.
Although we are good at giving them L's this season.
Yeah. I
Like we
mean,
beat them twice.
yeah, I just would. Yeah, I guess we have to play them three times at least anyway.
I'm just
It's
saying, we
just
only have 8 wins this season, and 25% of them are from the Warriors. So thank you.
okay when you put it that way. That does feel pretty good. And they'll get like a nice little extra bonus trip to New Orleans around the holidays. That's probably kind of fun, festive.
Yeah. And also it's nice because I think, Drew likes to go back there and we have some players that have connections there, so it's nice.
Hmm. Yeah, so those
Um,
have been added back. And as I recall, there's also big gaps in there where they have several days off. So I hope that they get some good practice in and don't and good rest in.
yeah, so the Blazers are about to go on a long road trip. Um, so the Blazers, I think, are scheduled after today versus OKC, which is going to be at 3 p.m. They go on a road trip that's one, two, three, four, 5 games now that they added that New Orleans game. So it's Toronto, Cleveland, Detroit, Memphis, New Orleans, and that takes them from the December 2nd to the 11th, and then they have 2 days off before they play the Golden Warriors at home on the 14th.
Gosh, they're gonna be home a lot the second half of the season. Feels like they've been on a road quite a bit.
Yeah, totally. And then they're home, I think most of the rest of December, it looks like. Um, it looks like there's one road game against Sacramento at like December 20th, but after that they don't leave again until the 31st.
I just so hope that they get somebody back before January. It's going to be a long December if they don't get anybody back, any of their wounded players back. Oof, it's going to
Do we
be
need to add that Counting Crows song to our season playlist?
what kind of crow song?
Oh, A Long December. That's what
Oh,
it's called.
I don't know. Yes, that sounds
Maybe
like it.
we'll put a pin in it and see if we get anybody back. And if we
Yes.
don't, maybe we'll add it to the playlist.
Yeah, I guess who's the person who's most likely to come back? I think Drew is the person who's most likely to possibly potentially come back.
I don't know what's going on with Scoot. Do we know where Scoot is?
Yeah, he had another update that was like 4 to 6 more weeks, I think.
Oh my God.
I know. I know. I'm not even thinking about him until January. I've just written him off until January. I've just decided, like when I first heard of it, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna act like he's not coming back because we want him to be fully healed. But
Yes.
boy, it'll sure be good, nice to have any point guard on the team.
Yeah. Matisse might come back, but he's not a point guard.
Mm-mm.
Um, but I saw him he's shooting now, which is good.
Yeah. And
He had a thumb thing too. It wasn't like
y-
a leg or
yeah.
anything.
Yeah. We should talk about Denny. And there's a lot of talk. I don't know about nationally, but there's a lot of talk locally about how he's playing like an all-star.
Hmm.
Um and he really is. He's putting up some impressive numbers. He's basically put the team on his back, especially with the scoring responsibility.
Hmm.
And he's been playing really, really, really well.
Yeah, I mean, he has been like I couldn't ask for more from him, really. I know that fans have plenty of things on their wish list for Denny, despite him playing like this, and nobody else on the team, like whoever's playing second best to him is a distant second best right now.
Hmm.
Um, but like from what I saw last year to this season, I think he got better, which is
Hmm.
wild. He also played basketball in like the summer, so that probably helped him like stay locked in and continue to develop the skills that he was working on here. But um, one of the things you and I talked about before we got on here is that like his mistakes are really loud.
Hmm.
Even when like even if you look at his like him in the box score, like you see an efficient game from him, but the mistakes that he makes are still really loud because they're passes to nobody.
Hmm.
Bounce passes to somebody sitting in the front row is not what people want to see. Takes years off your life. Missed free throws in crunch time hurts people's. But I also think that they're loudest right now because so much of the team is quiet on who's
Yeah.
showing up to win game to game.
Yeah.
And so you're like, this is the only person keeping my team in the game, and he's making bonehead mistakes.
Yeah. As he's taking years off my life, I am reminding myself, and yet where would they be without him? So I appreciate his contribution, but yeah, like you said, it's just that the mistakes are loud. I don't think they're any worse than anybody else's mistakes. They just seem to really have a light shine on them every time it happens because like he was the one who was going to be able to rescue them from this one situation and he couldn't. And so that feels worse.
One of the things that I wanted to point out, which I have been tracking since we acquired him, um, because I thought it was going to be important for the way they were trying to use him last season, is like what his free throw attempts and free throw percentage looks like each year from year to
Hmm.
year. Because I knew that he needed to get better when he got here because of the way they were using him. And he averaged more attempts last season than he had ever in his previous seasons with Washington. And he shot 78% on the season last year.
Hmm.
He was averaging 5.2 attempts and shot 78%. So far this season, I know it doesn't feel this way, friends, but so far this season, he is averaging 8.3 attempts per game, which is more than three more
Hmm.
than he was averaging last season. And he's shooting 80.3%. So he's shooting more than 2 points better and more than three attempts more per game. So, as far as his ability to generate points off of free throws, he's still the best he's ever been.
Hmm. Yeah,
Now,
that puts it
those two that he missed in crunch time against the Spurs felt bad, but it also wasn't the reason why we lost.
um yeah, I feel like it was more than two. Also, you put it in really good perspective that he's making or he's attempting so many more and he's his percentage is a little bit better, but even with both of those things being true, uh some are not going to go in.
Yeah, I think the only one shooting nearly the same volume as him on the season is like he's shooting 8.3, and then the next closest guy is Jeremy, who's shooting 7.1
Jeremy's shooting 7.1. Wow.
free throw attempts per game.
I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, and he's shooting 85. So he's
Mhm.
shooting better than Denny is, but he's also attempting three fewer attempts per game. And then the next, oh, excuse me, sorry, one fewer attempt per game. And then the next closest guy is Shaden.
Mhm.
And Shaden is shooting 5.3 attempts per game, and he's shooting 80%. So
Mhm.
he's no better than Denny on three fewer attempts per game. And doesn't mean that those ones at the end feel bad. Like those two, he missed two in a row where it was like, I forget what it was. It was like a clear path foul or something. And he missed them both. And it felt really, really bad at the time because
Mhm.
it was like the last kind of chance for us to turn that game around. But I also could see like he looked tired
Mhm.
by that point.
He definitely looked tired. Everybody's arms looked tired at the end of that game. They were
Think about how hard they're having to play now with so few guys in the rotation.
mhm. Yeah, and when you get up a lot of shots, your arms must be tired.
He goes hard. Like when he like drives to the hoop, he goes so hard. Did you
Mhm.
see that there was like a dunk on that game where he like had like a two men contesting his dunk and he went flying out of bounds and Joe Cronin stood up to like
Yes.
keep him from
Catch him.
flying out. Yes, from flying out too far.
Yes. Yeah. And I have to say, there have been some really fun passes that have been going on amongst like the whole team where they like
Mm.
go around where it's multiple passes in a row that show up as a probably as a result of being more used to each other and having played together longer, and those are really fun and those give me life. I don't know if it gives the team life, but they definitely give me life as they're on the one hand taking days off my life, they're actually giving me life when they do some of those fun runs that are like clearly like, oh, this is because they know each other, they know where they're going to be, they know. And those aren't going to happen every single time. And so when the pass ends up going straight out of bounds because you guessed where your teammate was going to be, but you guessed wrong, that also feels a lot more painful than it probably actually is.
Yeah, the pass situation is so interesting because like a bad pass feels so bad. Like
Yeah.
just emotionally feels so bad.
Yeah.
But a great pass, like I can be high off that for three possessions.
Yeah. Maybe they'll if they won't consider adding dunks to the hustle board, they'll add cool passes.
I kind of think it would be funny and it would be very Portland to add like like a qualitative component to our hustle board where we could like where we could just have something that says something like, "Oh, and you know, we had three really cool creative dunks or whatever, or highest dunk score." Okay. No,
Yes.
never mind.
I
Forget the dunk score.
although it is as long as Shaden has the highest one, it's completely accurate. Let's just say that.
Yeah. But wouldn't it be really funny at the bottom for the hustle board to be a note that was like, and Shaden had a really amazing dunk.
No, I just want them to put on dunks. I want them to take off charges drawn because I think that is something that is like it's just it's taken up a whole line, and sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. Sure, it's exciting if it happens and it goes in your favor and the player on your team successfully drew the charge. That is not what happens all the time. And I just I, dunks happen every game.
It's true. So wait, in your dream scenario, what is off the hustle board and what is on the hustle board in its replacement?
Off the hustle board is drawn charges.
Okay.
On the hustle board is dunks.
And that's it. That's the only change you'd make.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they have forced turnovers and points off forced turnovers, and I get that, but I'm not sure you need them both.
Yeah, it's true. That feels like we're a little bit in the weeds of like Michael Holton's POV or something like that that they could talk about on the broadcast and not necessarily be
Yeah.
a hustle board thing.
Yeah. Okay,
I
Denny
can get down with
Avdia, I'm
that.
looking at the end of that San Antonio game. It was 107 to 99, and he missed the two clear path foul free throws.
Hmm.
And then after that, he got fouled and he missed two more free throws.
Ugh,
So
okay.
I'm not saying I'm not like putting him down for that. I just was pretty sure it felt like he missed more than two in a row.
Yeah, it looks like he was 8 of 14, which is by far his worst outing in forever, for us. And we also, as a team, shot 63%.
Yeah, that's not good.
So as a team, Caleb Love went 1 for 2. Or Robert Williams missed two in a row. I do remember Rob missing two in a row because they were like, one of them was really not close. But yeah, as a team, we shot 63% that game. But I just wanted to like point out that like he's shooting better than he's ever shot from the
Mhm.
line in his career,
And
and he's
more.
shooting more attempts per game than he ever has shot in his entire career. And so I'm trying to like ask people to like have a little perspective
Mhm.
on someone who's given so much growth to this team and like the year and change that he's been here, and just be like, he's gonna miss some crappy ones and crappy situations. And partly I think Portland is a little bit we were a little bit spoiled having Damian Lillard in crunch time for so many years, you know?
Hmm.
Someone who is like one of the best free throw shooters in the league for so many years, and he very rarely missed crunch time free throws, but he still did it. He still missed them
Hmm.
from time to time.
Yeah, he did.
Free throws they're just, they're not, as you said last week, they're not free.
I know. So I should not I want to make it very clear that I'm not saying how dare he. What I'm saying is how, like you said, how loud those misses were
Yeah. And you
because
draw
of
a
just
lot of
like the
attention to
focus on
them
them. Yeah.
in moments like that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, speaking of loud misses, I no that okay, that was a terrible transition. Because we've been enjoying a lot of hits also from one of the newest players to the team. Um and that is Caleb Love, which is who we're going to talk about today. We were preparing to talk about Blake Wesley, but he got injured, and so we thought, you know what, let's do him when he comes back. And in the meantime, CD and Caleb have been carrying a lot bigger load than we ever expected out of these two-way guys. So
Mhm.
we wanted to get to know who these guys are, who have like really gotten a chance to play. They have really been there for some important, fun games, and also like are some of the few ball handlers the Blazers actually have right now. So I think we're going to be seeing them until the other ball handlers come back. So we might as well get to know them.
Yeah. Also, Caleb Love, I think he's interesting because he was undrafted, but like has a prolific college career.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um, and I know that the reason why you chose that segue is because in his past there is a famous missed shot that people talk about maybe a little too much.
right. Because there's also some famous made shots, and that's the thing about that's the thing about any of these guys who put themselves out there to try to make it in the NBA. They draw so much criticism and maybe a little adulation here and there, but it just seems like so much coverage is about whether or not somebody's mad at them for having missed something or if they're the greatest player ever because they did something. And it must be really, really hard to go through that. And I had a blast learning about Caleb Love. It was slightly colored by the fact that after he had that really great game against Golden State, right? It was against the Warriors,
I think that's right.
where he hit like all those threes and just was like going off, and it was fabulous. And everybody was like, Caleb Love's the greatest. And then Mike Richmond, who is from North Carolina, he said everybody just experienced there's two ends to the Caleb Love experience, and kind of reminded us that there's highs and lows with this guy. When I was reading about him, I think, like so many other guys, I think he got maligned a lot. And I think that, especially when you play for a powerhouse college, for like North Carolina, all eyes are on you. And so, I I'm excited about him. I'm excited that he is getting a chance to prove himself. He was like a really high school like recruit, or from high school to college, and I think there were a lot of expectations that he might do better in the draft, at least earlier on in his college career. But it didn't happen. So anyway, we're going to talk about Caleb Love. I'll jump in, and feel
Okay.
free to jump in as well anytime you want to. So, Caleb Love was born in September of 2001. The teammate that he's closest in age to, because I always like to get that perspective, is Denny. So, Denny's about 9 months older than him. So, they're of about the same age. However, Denny's been in the year five in the league 5 years, and Caleb is a rookie. So, kind of a big difference, even though they're the same age. So, he is from St. Louis. Not a ton of famous basketball players are from St. Louis, although they do have a few. That is where Jason Tatum is from. And
Hmm.
in fact, Jason Tatum's dad was Caleb's coach in high school. But first, a little bit about his family. His parents are Dennis and Alicia. They divorced. I don't know how old he was when they divorced, but he was raised, they weren't together for a lot of his life. His dad remarried and later had a little sister. So he has this really cute little sister who's in a lot of or in some of his Instagram posts. So it's fun to, and you can tell that she's excited. Like, she went to like his basketball camp and he called her the manager. You can tell they're really close, and he really loves his little sister and she really likes her big brother.
Her name
Um
is Kaylee.
Kaylee, yes. And so Caleb's dad was a military guy, and then after he got out of the service, he became an educator and a coach, and he worked all the way up to being like a activities director and vice principal, and ultimately a principal. looks like for like the last 10 years he's been like a financial advisor, but a big portion of his adult life was spent in education and coaching. And I just think it's interesting how many basketball players come from families where they had educators in the family.
Hmm.
Not 100% sure about what his mom, Alicia, did, but one of the other grown-ups that was really important in Caleb's life was his mother's father, Benny Shelby of Kansas City. He was a restaurateur and nightclub owner, and Caleb spent quite a bit of time with him. And his grandfather, also a coach. He coached Little League for over 50 years, if you can believe that. That's amazing. So a lot of his family spent a lot of time with youth and education and giving back to the community. That's always been a big thing for those communities. When I didn't learn a lot, very much more about his early life, some of these guys who are, in the spotlight, they give you every little detail about like where they went to grade school and who their best friends were. Didn't get a
Hmm.
lot about that about Caleb. But one thing that I did read about Caleb was a prediction that he made for himself when he was in eighth grade. So he set some goals for his high school career as an eighth grader. He said he wanted to be a McDonald's All American. He wanted to be a Jordan Brand All American, and he wanted to play for Team USA for the Nike Hoop Summit. So those are goals that he set for himself in eighth grade. So then he goes to high school where it was Christian Brothers College in St. Louis, where he was coached by, like I said, Justin Tatum, who is the father of Jason Tatum. Um, had,
Did
a
you
lot. Go ahead.
did you read that his dad had coached him up until about high school? His dad was like a basketball coach for his like kind of elementary and middle school years, and then he was handed off in high school.
Yeah, and I heard an interview with his dad where he said that he eventually just had to start the team because he was trying to find somebody who would be the coach and he couldn't find anybody, so he eventually like had to start a team. And then he said that he'd just
Hmm.
go to when he played other teams, he would just go to the parents of the best player and be like, "Hey, can you come play on my team?" He had he, no, didn't hide that at all about his recruiting for his teams. Um,
It also reminded me, Jason Tatum's dad is young. Like Jason Tatum, like when I was like realizing that Caleb was coached by Jason Tatum's dad. I think his name is Justin. He's
mhm.
only like 45
Mm,
now.
mhm.
And like Jason's like what, like 25?
Mm-hmm. Huh. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, 27. Jason's 20. So his dad had Jason young and he
Young.
was coaching young.
Yeah. Oh, there's also another very important basketball player from St. Louis, and that's Candace Parker.
Oh, yes. That's right. And Caleb was the Mr. Basketball for Missouri, but it's really cute because in Missouri they're called the Show Me State, which I don't super understand why, but it's Mr. Show Me Basketball in Missouri.
Mr. Show Me Basketball. That's funny. Um, so, I talked about those goals that he set for himself as an eighth grader, and he actually achieved every one of those goals. However, because of COVID, he was not able to play in any of those games or be on it, like get any of the benefits of those accolades beside just like having them listed in the magazine. He didn't get to go to the Nike Hoop Summit. He didn't go to the Jordan Brand game. All of that was shut down and he had to stay home, which I think is really sad. Like we talk a lot about different ways that we think COVID affected those guys who were coming up during that time. And I'd always been thinking about it in terms of like, missing out on the college recruitment. And Caleb actually committed before COVID shut everything down. He committed late in
Mhm.
2019. So that didn't really factor in. But I hadn't really thought about just like the fact that he never got to go do all of the fun things that were part of that. And actually, in one of
Mhm.
the articles I read about him, um, the his coach Justin Tatum talked about what a heartbreak it was. He said, um, when all those things are taken away, it's tough because you've been working for them. This is what Caleb Love said. When all those things are taken away, it's tough because you've been working for them all your life. you got those and you're not able to participate in those. It's heartbreaking, not so much to play in the game, but actually just being there and experiencing it. And then Justin Tatum said, it hurts in general knowing that Caleb and his parents won't get that chance. I enjoyed every minute of it with Jason. All we can do is support him. And I told him to remember the accolades because that's something that they can't take away.
Mm.
So that was the end of his high school career. Like I said, he committed in 2019 to North Carolina. It had come down to North Carolina and Missouri, which would have been his home state, but he ended up going with North Carolina. There's a story about how in 2005, so he would have been like 4 years old, his father was a big UNC fan, and the playoffs for the finals for the tournament was in St. Louis. And so he actually attended in 2005 when UNC won the national championship. So he was at that game. He was 4 years old, so I'm not quite sure how much that actually contributed to him choosing it. But his dad was a big fan, so that probably had something to do with it.
I
Also,
saw
it
that
was
he really liked Roy Williams. He wanted to play for Roy Williams.
Yes. Yeah, that definitely contributed to it. And unfortunately for him, Roy Williams was only there for 1 year. And after that, he had a new coach. So he ended up going to UNC. He played with Walker Kessler his freshman year. I did not know that until I looked that up. And also, we're back in the days where because there's so many guys that are around the same age, they may have played each other. So he
Hmm.
did play against Chris Murray his freshman year. Did he play his sophomore year? He played against Blake Wesley. So he didn't play a lot of games against other. Oh, and he missed Nas Little by 1 year.
Yeah, yeah. I went and looked to make sure that Nas and he didn't overlap because that's a Blazer cutie that we care about.
Yeah.
And definitely not my all-time favorite Blazer, Ed Davis, who was also from
Yes, they
North
did. They
Carolina.
definitely did not overlap,
No, no.
but definitely your favorite player. Want to clarify the way that came out. It almost sounded like he wasn't your favorite player. And I was like, no, 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 no. We need to back up and clarify that.
I was thinking how hard it must be for players to be recruited to colleges. And then, like, so Roy Williams retired after his freshman year. And that was like a big reason why he wanted to go there. And it must be so hard for players to like decide to move on or stay when that there's like a big shakeup like that. The transfer portal that like now is a part of college sports probably helps. But like Caleb, he did eventually enter the transfer portal after his junior year, but he stayed 2 more years after Roy Williams retired. And I can't imagine what it must be like to like deliberate about what to do next after that. So I don't know. I just want to like recognize that that like kind of sucks because like your coach becomes like one of the most important adults in your life, especially when you go to college and you're no longer home with your family. And then that person up and retires, like it can't be easy.
And they probably also made you a lot of promises,
Yeah.
about what they were going to do for you. And then suddenly that is not there anymore. No, one of my other major takeaways about this, uh, deep dive into Caleb Love was just about how things have changed due to the transfer portal and it
Mm,
being so much easier to transfer and all of the ripple effects that it creates, not just for the player who's actually making the transfer, but for other players who are waiting to find out if they were going to get a spot on a team, and then somebody joins the team, and yeah, it's something that is definitely more a part of stories these days than it ever was in the past, for sure. Um, so for freshman year, after his freshman year, he was a streaky shooter, always been not he was not a good shooter at NC, so he actually went and worked with Drew Hanlon, who's also a St. Louis person. Was it Myers Leonard who worked with Drew Hanlon? One of the
oh, I
Blazers, like,
think so. I think it might have must have been Myers.
yeah. Um, so he worked with him, and then his sophomore season, this was a big season for Love, and this was part of the high highs. And like that's kind of the story about Caleb Love is the high highs and then them having been some lows. And I don't want to call them low lows because like I wasn't a fan at the time. So like I don't know, like and
Mm,
you know me, like if a player has a bad game, I'm like whatever, a player has a bad game, but I wasn't there and I wasn't, a fan of the team who were claiming that there were high highs and very low lows.
yeah.
Um, but the one of the high highs, and I can imagine like this was a high high, was him sinking a shot that put the North Carolina basically put Duke away in the Final Four. And like, if you're a North Carolina guy who puts Duke away, like to me, like you could probably never do anything wrong. Apparently, that's not true, but it seems like that's how I would have thought it would have been. It was also Coach K's last game, so it was in the Final Four. 24 seconds left. Caleb hits an important three that was basically the go-ahead game bucket that won them the game. And so he was completely beloved for having done that. Unfortunately, in the next game, in the national championship game, he bricked the three that could have, I don't know, tied it or had them move on, or had them win the whole thing. So high to me would be the North Carolina guy taking down Duke, Coach K's last game. To me, that you should be like cemented in the in the rafters after having done that.
Yeah, it's like pretty amazing. Like that rivalry is so important to those teams, and it's like beating them in the final four. Like it's wild to me that people would feel weird or bad about him from in like terms of University of North Carolina lore. Um, just because I know how important that rivalry is. Like if you want to beat anybody in a tournament, you want to beat your ultimate rival.
Hmm.
And it's Duke. And like, so I have a colleague who went to North Carolina, and she was telling me that like you are guaranteed, I think you get one ticket, one student ticket to that rivalry game. Um, Guaranteed. Like, and you got to be like careful about when you choose you when you want to take it because you might not ever get to go again. So it's like such a highly coveted ticket to even go to as a student, and everybody like it makes it like a whole thing for the region because those schools are just like so close to each other. I don't know, like it's wild to me that that missed 3-point shot is louder to those fans than that make against Duke.
Yeah. And I don't know that was the I don't know that the miss to lose the in to Kansas in that national championship. I don't know at the time if that was really considered that low of a low because they had fought their way back from a big deficit, and like he had a twisted ankle. One of his other
Mhm.
teammates threw up on the floor. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like a bad game. So I don't know that that was held against them as much as the following season, where he had a very poor shooting season. He was very inefficient. The the team was like had the lowest assist rate of any North Carolina team ever since they started keeping that stat. And a lot of people blamed Caleb Love. And so I think it was that third year, second year with the new coach, really struggled. He had a backcourt mate that some people said that they didn't get along.
Mm.
Some people even said that there was a girl that came between them. Whether or not that's true or not, I don't know. But at the end of his third year, that is when he entered the transfer portal. Did you read anything else about why he decided to leave North Carolina? Because that seems like a very big decision.
Yeah, so I had read a couple of things. So one of the things I did read is that he said that or like I think his dad said at some point like us as parents, we didn't tell him to enter the transfer portal at all. Like, because some people, I think, like their parents are part of that decision for them, but he made it clear, like, that's his decision. Um, but I'd also read that, like, he kind of didn't like feeling like a scapegoat for why that team wasn't as successful as people thought that they should be. And I think that that can be really hard, especially for student athletes. And in a, like, this is a prestigious basketball program, like these like I would say like Duke, North Carolina, Kansas, some of the Kentucky, these like schools that are used to winning and they expect to win. And if they're not winning, they look for reasons why they're not winning. And I think it can be hard for that to feel like it is sits on your shoulders as a player. So I think there's probably a lot of things that went into it, but he wanted a fresh start his senior year. He's a 4-year guy, which number one, like they're not that common. Um, I don't say they're not that common. Like a lot of guys play 4 years, but like the guys that play 4 years and then go to the NBA are not that common. Um, and he just wanted to try something different. I think he tried for 2 seasons to work it out with a new coach, not the one who brought him there, and was ready to move on. And he played for he went to Arizona through the transfer portal, and like I don't know. I don't begrudge a guy for wanting a change of scenery if you feel like you've given all that you have, and
Hmm.
you know you
Yeah,
still
he
you still want to play basketball.
yeah, and he's actually a 5-year guy because he's one of those guys who
Oh
got an
yeah,
extra
yeah.
year of eligibility. So he, after he transferred to Arizona, he had 2 years that there where he was quite successful. He was in 2024, he was the Pac-12 Player of the Year. That was last year, the Pac-12, and then the next year he was first team All Big 12. The following year. One of the interesting things that was that after his fourth year of college, so after his first year of Arizona, he did go to the pre-draft workouts and he got the feedback that he wouldn't be drafted. So he never made it. He didn't get the invite to the combine, but he did a lot of the other activities that guys did, and he decided after that to come back to Arizona for his fifth year. One of the things like I alluded to earlier is about the transfer portal having like ripple effects because
Mhm.
when he decided to come back to Arizona, there were other players that were wanting to commit to Arizona who then decommitted from Arizona and took places on other teams, and then those teams lost other players. And
Yeah.
so it's interesting when you also add into the fact that some teams players are able to make more NIL money than at other teams.
Hmm.
And so the transfer portal isn't just big for like opportunity for playing. It can also have ripple effects when it comes to the amount of money people are able to come. Because if they couldn't get the spot on the team that has very successful NIL, and they have to go to a school that has less success, that can have an impact on those players as well. So that was another part of the whole transfer portal thing that I hadn't thought about was now money is important. You know, now that they can make money through NIL, that's important.
Yeah,
So
and
that was,
I
go
well,
ahead.
see, and I read that he had originally committed to Michigan briefly after entering the transfer portal, and then decommitted, and then the following month committed to Arizona. So like the number of things that I mean, I don't really know why he decommitted from Michigan. I read that it had something to do with him being able to transfer his credits and graduate or something, but I don't know the specifics, but like I'm sure there was a ripple effect there where suddenly Michigan had
Mhm.
an open roster spot that they didn't anticipate having because they thought that Caleb Love was going to be in it. And then he goes to Arizona. And then he
Yeah.
stays for that graduate season.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all something that we never really had to think about before. But speaking of
Totally.
NIL, so some of the NIL deals that he had were he had the one with Skims, which a lot of guys get now, which is so weird to me. But he
Yeah.
actually met Donovan Clingan at the Skims shoot. So
Wait, is
that was
Donovan Clingan a
yeah,
Skims guy?
he's also a Skims guy. And,
Okay. I didn't
and
think
they're
I knew
just
that.
they are literally like rust brown sweatsuits. Like see, like I looked at the ads and they're literally just all wearing brown sweatsuits. Apparently they're very comfortable. But yeah, that was some I kind of think if I read into it more, I'd realize like kind of that it was a pretty brilliant move by Skims to do that, but I have not gone down that path to read about.
The WNBA women are do a lot of Skims stuff too, and they're all like in like undies.
Mm. Oh, doesn't that
Because
make sense?
yeah. But these guys being in like brown sweatsuits, I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay.
Um, some of the other NIL deals, he had a lot. He did like they have there's a database that keeps track of how much money players are making. You have to have a subscription, but somebody who had a subscription wrote an article about players in Arizona and who were making the most, and he was in the top 10 for making the most money for from NIL. He also had Ritz Crackers, Keurig, Powerade, so some pretty high profile ones that a lot of other student athletes are also participating in, but he was able to make so far I think he's made more money from NIL deals than he's made playing in the NBA because of his two-way contract is
Yeah.
like 5 to 600. And the figure that I saw was over 700,000, and I wasn't sure if that was for his entire career or if that was just for that year. So I'm not sure, but it's interesting how much money that they can make now.
Yeah, especially if you're like signed by like a bigger brand. Like the brands you just rattled off are all
Mhm.
like big, well-known brands. It's not exactly Cane's Chicken.
No, and I couldn't find it. I'm always looking for like the car commercial. So I'm not saying that there wasn't one, but I love it when they do like a super hyper local one. And we've talked about before, like, ooh, I wonder if those opportunities are still going to be around. There's also, he also was part of like there's like conglomerates where like a bunch of I think sponsors put together a group that will actually sponsor the athlete as opposed to like an individual business.
Oh,
And so I think maybe those are like alumni come together or something like that. But
boosters.
yeah, so that in that case, maybe it's potential that he could have done like a sandwich shop or something, but I wasn't able to find it. Um,
Can I give you a little
mhm.
tidbit, like the small Oregon connection?
Yeah.
So he in his senior season at Arizona, he scored 36 points against Oregon, where they beat Oregon in Eugene, and it tied the single game scoring record for Matt Knight Arena.
So like he like for a visitor or for like anybody?
I think for anybody, for any player in Matt Knight Arena. Now, as people know, Matt Knight Arena is not that old.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
like
cool.
they haven't.
That's cool.
Yeah, but so he did have. I don't know if he's still if that's still the scoring record, but if he's still somewhere in the record books there at Matt Knight Arena, obviously, us Oregon fans aren't gonna like full-throated cheer that one on, but it's cool for him. And it means that like, Oregon does have like a place in his basketball history, even just like a little bit, because the Pac-12, may they rest in peace. That was some epic sports matchups.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so I guess kind of to wrapping it up, another thing that was stood out about his college career is that he was selected for the Formula Zero camp by Damian Lillard. And we know that that's
Yes.
special. It's not just it's not just like, oh, the top 20 college athletes. It's like 20 college athletes that Damian Lillard believes understand the formula is, of success. And he said it's not necessarily the best players, but it's guys who like I guess kind of seem to follow his philosophy. Um
Yeah.
so he was actually there at the same time as Chris Murray. So they know each other from that.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And it's also really kind of funny because when we brought in both of those guys, it was, I think, before Damian Lillard was back. But
Hmm.
we got two Formula Zero guys on this team. And Caleb Love was the MVP of the Formula Zero camp the year he was there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that the we'll have to do like a deep dive on Formula Zero sometime and like what it's really all about and everything because it's pretty cool. Because they do college players and high school players, and the college players are considered like camp counselors for the high school guys, and a lot of expectations on them, to be mentors to the younger guys. So pretty cool. One last little tiny connection. Caleb was not drafted, but he was pretty much immediately offered a two-way contract by Portland. And as a good Rip City fan, the first thing I did, of course, was Google Mike Schmidt's Caleb Love. And Mike Schmitz had not done like a breakdown of Caleb Love. However, Mike Schmitz is an Arizona grad, as is Rashawn Gathers, the communications guy. So there's a little bit of a connection there.
Yeah, that's cool. Um, I remember they announced his contract like basically like within an hour or two of the draft ending or whatever. And a lot of the times, the only reason, like a lot of the times these guys will sometimes forego being drafted. Like they like when it gets late in the second round, it's my understanding that sometimes like guys will get calls and they'll be like, "Do you want to be drafted?" And if the guys say no, then because they would prefer to sign as free agents, like
Hmm.
then they're not drafted. So like there's a little bit of choice that it gets down to some of those deeper, like those deeper draft positions. It's true in the NFL. I think it's true in the NBA. I don't know if it was true for Caleb Love if he had the opportunity to be drafted, or if he really truly wasn't drafted and he preferred to sign as a free agent, but that's what happened.
Any other tidbits about Caleb that you want to talk about?
Um, I don't think so. I think that pretty well covers him. His journey is similar to a lot of the guys in some ways, just because he comes from like, the like, elite college basketball programs, which is really like kind of we've dug into that pipeline quite a bit on this podcast. There's a couple of tidbits I will drop in. So when he missed that shot against Kansas, on that Kansas team was Christian Brown.
Mm.
Christian Brown is a national championship because Caleb Love missed a shot. Ah, Christian Brown.
Mm.
And the other thing I was going to say is there's one other NBA player I believe that came from his high school, which is Larry Hughes.
Yes.
Um, so I just thought that was a fun little tidbit. You're right. There's not a lot of guys whose basketball journeys come through Missouri. Jason Tatum is probably the most notable one, but Larry Hughes had a nice long career. He played like, I don't know, more than 10 years, 10, 12 years in the league. A basketball journeyman, and he went to Christian Brothers College High School in St. Louis.
Yeah, same college or same high school, and was also kind of a mentor for him. He had said in one interview. I watched a video of Neil Everett interviewing Caleb Love and another Arizona player because Neil Everett, I guess, went to Arizona. And it was a hot wings challenge. And for a hot wings challenge being interviewed by Neil Everett, I was surprised that like there was really nothing came out of it. It was like really nothing interesting has come out of this. I had high hopes for it going in, and then afterwards it was kind of like, oh, that wasn't as interesting as I'd hoped it would be. Another random observation about Caleb, he's a good dresser. And for a team that is has a that players are competing for an as yet undetermined fashion award, I have my eye on Caleb. He knows how to dress and has like since like late in high school, like he would have some outfits. They're like, oh, he likes this. He's into this. He thinks it's fun. So I got my eye on him. I think that could be fun. Um, so yeah, that was just another observation of mine. I'm curious to see what happens to him like when players come back. You know, he has 50 games, and we're nowhere near 50 games that he can play for the NBA team
Mhm.
before he either has to be offered a contract or he can only play with Remix again. But I'm curious to see what happens with him as the season goes on because like they don't have any ball handlers coming back anytime soon.
No, and we think of him as more of a shooting guard, but also he was listed as a point guard when he like was recruited to college and stuff. So I know that has played quite a bit of point guard. I'm curious if he can showcase some of those skills considering we are absent the point guard. Although I've seen him like take the ball up a little bit, but I haven't seen him really run the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't I haven't seen that very much either, but you know, just as much as anybody else has been running the floor,
Yeah.
I
One of
would
the other
say.
things I think is very interesting about him, which is like not something anybody should notice at all, but I did, his Instagram handle is just at Caleb.
I totally noticed that.
And I was like, whoa, how did you just get at Caleb?
Yeah. No, I absolutely absolutely noticed that. I'm glad you brought that up because that means he started early.
Hmm.
And yeah, how
Or
did
he
he get?
bought it. That's the only two choices.
But
Guys
there's
can
more.
like guys sometimes pay like somebody who has that handle and people sell their handles.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm very curious how he got at Caleb. Also, I'm wondering, I'm like, who's at Caleb Love then?
Oh, interesting. Is there a Caleb Love?
I don't know. I'm gonna look right now.
Dun,
Maybe
dun, dun, dun,
not.
dun.
Maybe not. There's Caleb underscore Love.
Yeah, no, I definitely noticed that and thought that was interesting. So I think
Caleb Love Island official fan page for somebody named Caleb from Love Island. Is
are you
that you?
is it Caleb Love Island? Like, is it fans of Caleb Love?
No, Caleb Love Island, official fan page for Caleb Corprew, who was
Oh,
on Love Island.
well, okay. There's a lot of seasons of Love Island that I have not seen.
There's also Caleb Loves Jesus 16. There's Caleb Lovely, but no,
Oh,
actually, there's no Caleb. I don't think there's a Caleb Love.
there's a lot of good Caleb. Well, I think I feel like he's gonna be. I feel like he's pretty media savvy. I feel like his Instagram handle is interesting. It's curated, but not like overly curated.
Mm,
I really liked him, and I feel a lot for him being sort of caught up in the maelstrom of, like, being the highs and the lows and people trying to look for somebody to blame when their team doesn't do what they want it to do. And just the fact that Mike Richmond's initial reaction after Caleb's Love Good game was like, "Oh, hold on." I was like, that's kind of sort of symptom or emblematic maybe of like what a guy in a high level program like this has to contend with if they're not like an automatic put him straight through to the lottery superstar. This is a guy who's worked really hard. He went to school for 5 years and he still
yeah.
didn't get drafted, but he's in there, he's putting in the work. And so I appreciated that. I think he's got like a great solid foundation, and he seems to me as like a guy who may end up playing overseas and having a really nice career like overseas. I would love it if it all comes together for him. Maybe it will, and maybe he'll be a journeyman in the NBA. It just took him a little while to get here. But overall, I'm glad that he's on the Blazers right now because they need him. And
Hmm.
I understand that this could be just a brief moment in time where he shines because of the opportunity. But it's really fun to watch guys doing their best to take advantage of that opportunity and make the most of it. And we'll learn about CD soon to find out how CD's doing the same thing.
Yeah, totally agree. I'm happy that he's here. I hope he gets an opportunity to shine. I hope that he finds a place. If he ends up overseas, I hope that's like the right path for him. But like, I would love it for him if he found a role in the NBA. The funny thing is about the NBA is like, so you might not live up to whatever expectations other people set for you that may or may not be very fair. But sometimes you find just the right role to play that allows you to have a long, like, journeyman career, you know?
Mhm.
I'm thinking about like Drew Eubanks. Drew Eubanks is somebody who I'm like, you're still bumping around the league and you're in like year 8 and he's never on a team that's contending, but he does fill a specific role that is allowing him to have like a pretty decent length of a career for someone who's not a star.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
never know.
that's a great point. And I so wonder like what goes into like when guys like are gonna just stick around for the grind and when guys are gonna be like, it's time for me to go overseas. And I'm like what those kind of decisions come down to. And yeah, what's behind all of them. But I'm happy for Caleb Love right now, and I hope he keeps it up and has a successful career. And we'll be cheering for him. I will be anyway.
Me too. And I'm really like happy for him that he landed in a place where like he gets to work with Damian Lillard again. Like
Hmm.
he gets to work with two veteran like superstar point guards. Like what better opportunity could there be for a guy at this point in his career to like try to find and make his way into the NBA?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. You're really great point about having Damian Andrew to be able to help him as he furthers his as he pursues his goals. Also, when he came to the Blazers, he thought he was coming to Chauncey Billups, and he was also like no slouch as a point guard.
Right. That's right. Yeah. I hope that this is a good opportunity for him and not his last.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, Caleb Love. Tara, it's Sunday, November 30th, right around 1 p.m. Do you have a take for me today?
So it's not so much a take as just I want everybody to know that Al Farouk Aminu is living his best life on Instagram right now. He just shared a video of him doing some tumbling with his daughter, who is like she's growing up. She's I don't know how old she is now. How long was he here? His daughter like 10, 9, 10 right now. And she was doing her tumbling class, and he was right in there doing some tumbling, trying to do some handsprings and doing some like back walkovers or whatever you call those. And I was just like, I love Al Farouk Aminu's post NBA lifestyle. He is making the most of it. He is traveling with his family. He's making beats. He's looking at art. He posts a lot from art museums. And then when I saw him doing gymnastics, I was like, good for him. And what do you call it? Like sent a response to his story and he liked it. So he knows that the Aminu Appreciation Society is alive and well in Portland, Oregon.
Very good. I love that for him. He was somebody I was never like that worried about that like when he was done playing that he wouldn't be able to fill his time because he seemed to have lots of hobbies
Yeah.
and interests that weren't necessarily around basketball and I didn't think he would be lost in any way. So I'm glad to hear he's doing well.
And he reminds me a lot of like I feel like Jeremy is a lot like him.
Mm,
Like Jeremy's gonna have a post career a lot like Al Farouk, just in terms of like you said, lots of hobbies, lots of enrichment in his life already. Has made it a point to like have, lots of other things besides basketball. Oh, speaking of which, here's another one. This isn't really a take, but I noticed that Horace Grant is currently making a documentary series for some streaming service. I don't know what it is, but Harvey is also going to be in it.
ooh,
And so we're going to get the whole story of the Grant brothers. So I'm super excited for that. I can't wait to find out what that's going to be all about.
that's very exciting. I also saw on Jeremy Grant's glass night, he like was reacting to the seeing his glass and he was like, I have one of my dad's glasses. And I like was realizing I was like, oh, this is sweet because they both are gonna have glasses, not just glasses, but like glasses from the Blazers, but they're
Yeah.
completely different eras. And I was really happy for
Yeah,
him.
that's awesome.
Um,
How
my
about
take
you?
today
What's your take?
is not about basketball.
Okay.
It's about cookies. And here is what I was thinking about. So Thanksgiving, like everybody, like I don't know, like everybody was always for some reason likes to debate pie, like it's some, I don't know, competition about what pies are the best, or there should be like a tier list or whatever. I don't, whatever. Miss me with that. Pie, whatever. Enjoy the pie you like. Don't enjoy the pie you don't. But December is cookies, the start of cookie season. So we don't have like an actual holiday that's just like the dessert is cookies, but I think of it as owning like the season or the month perhaps of December. The December holidays, I believe, belongs to cookies. People do gingerbread, people do um like like shortbread, they do like sugar cookie Christmas cookies with lots of like decorations and candy or whatever. It is cookie season, and that makes the December holiday season the best season in my opinion because I love cookies.
Me too. You are speaking my language. I love cookies. Okay, so I don't know that we've had this conversation before. We could go so many different places. I'll just say, okay, what's your favorite December cookies? What are your go? Do you have or do you like to dabble?
So, okay, a funny thing that people who've known me for a long time know this, and maybe people who have met me later in life do not. My mother used to own a cookie bakery. So I grew up with my mom with a super small cookie bakery that was in my parents' garage that was like she had had it renovated to be a bakery. So I grew up with tons of cookies in my house. I was the cookie friend. People went like when my husband always comments about this, like when people from my past see me again after not seeing me for a long time, like the second question out of their mouth is like, does your mom still bake those cookies? Because everybody knew my house is the cookie house.
Wait,
So
what
I
was
will
the name
say
of your mom's cookie business?
it was called a la carte bakery.
Okay.
And her cookies were at like in Eugene, they were at like Oasis, they were at like Sundance, they were at Jiffy Mart for those of you who ever went to the Jiffy Mart. Like there was lots of little markets all over Eugene where you could get like wholesale cookies that were sold out of a jar, and you could
Yeah.
buy like one or you could buy a bunch. And
Those were
yeah,
your
she
mom's
delivered them.
cookies. I've eaten a million of those.
She had this she had this bar that was like a 7-layer bar called a magic bar.
Oh yeah.
And my mom is the only one who's made a 7-layer bar. I think the way that she did it, where she mixed everything together instead of actually layering them.
Oh.
People still talk about these so much that I had to go and get the recipe from my mom and figure out how she made it. And I made it. And for some of my friends over the summer that I've known since I was like in elementary school, and they were like, "Oh my God, this is exactly what I remember."
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I
Um,
remember the magic
so
bar.
anyway, do you really?
Hmm. Yeah,
Oh
my
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 gosh.
my friend worked at Sahaley and used to bring home cookies all the time.
Uh, so anyway, my favorite cookie to this day is still just the basic chocolate chip cookie. Um, but that's just because it's like what I remember the most, I
Hmm.
think. But I do dabble.
Hmm.
And for like Christmas, like Christmas, Hanukkah, all of the like I'll say I like a Hamantaschen, which is a Jewish cookie. Which is like
What's it made
a
out of? What's it look like?
it's like a white dough, kind of like a sugar cookie dough or like a short bread, excuse me. Um, and it's got jam in the middle and it's shaped like a triangle.
Okay. Yep.
Usually like
I can
preserves. It's
picture
like,
that.
yeah. So those are some of my favorite holiday cookies. I don't make them though, and I like them better when other people make them. I'm not good at making them, but I like them a lot. And then the other thing that I really like is I like gingerbread cookies
Hmm.
during the holidays.
Gingerbread, like
What about you?
frosted gingerbread cookies, or like what kind of gingerbread cookies?
I could do either way. I tend to prefer them unfrosted though. I
Mhm.
like gingerbread, like
Yeah.
just like the ones that have a little bit of they're a little bit soft on in the center, but like crispier on the outside.
Yeah. I like the molasses ginger ones that are rolled in sugar. Those are like
Oh yeah, yeah.
my favorites. And also ginger snaps. I don't really like ginger, but I like ginger cookies. Um,
Mm.
and my son is a really good cookie baker, and he always makes stuff from like different cultures. He'll be like, I'm gonna try out like Peruvian cookies this year or something. And so that's really cool because we get all kinds of ones that we would like not usually try. That's how I started to like love things that had figs in them. Because one year he was on a figs kick. I kind of tend to like the less sweet ones, and I like things with lots of nuts in them too. I really love nuts in my cookies. I know some people
Do
don't
you
like.
like a snickerdoodle? I like
Oh
snickerdoodles a
yeah, I
lot
mean
too.
yeah, those are my favorite ones that my mom makes are snickerdoodles. Yeah.
I think
Okay, time to go
snickerdoodles
make
also
cookies.
make a good mix in like a if you're making like a holiday like like can of cookies for people,
Uh-huh.
you have to have snickerdoodles in the mix.
Yeah. My mom's mom always made the ones that you squeeze out of the can, or that you put the dough in the can with the little um plate on the front with the like Christmas tree on it, and then you squeeze it out and you make those kind. I like those kind too, but nobody ever makes those anymore.
Do you, I don't even know where you would get that. The tube
Yeah.
thing.
I have one that I probably my mom gave me, but I haven't ever gone around making it. Maybe I should try. I don't know if it actually has any of the little, it might just be the can without the little plate that makes the cute little shapes. Because that's the fun part, is the cute little shapes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited for cookie season. Cookie season, everybody starts tomorrow.
Yay.
Tomorrow is when cookie season starts. And, post your cookies on socials and tag me because I want to see all your cookies so I can
Leave
have
your
good
butter
ideas.
out tonight for sure, so you can have good cookies. Start making them tomorrow. I love it. Oh, now I need cookies. Okay, well, we learned about Caleb Love. We talked a little bit about the week that was and had a really great cookie discussion. So thank you for being here with me, Rose, for that. And thanks to everyone who listened to this podcast. You can find us at We Have a Take. We have resurrected our We Have a Take Instagram account, and I just added a We Have a Take Threads account too, because it's easy to post threads to Instagram. So those are all places that you can find We Have a Take under at We Have a Take. You can find me at TCB Biggs, and you can find Rose at Rose L Harding. We will see you either at the game, in the comments, in the social media or just somewhere out in the universe. Thank you so much for listening and go Blazers.